Why radar?
Oh, well, sometimes I can tell what's going to happen before it happens.
Is that so?
Yes, sir. The officers of the train is to the right, sir.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Hi, Rick. How are you?
Hey, Gracie, how are you?
I'm well, thanks.
So I've got a question for you.
Okay.
Who is Radar O'Reilly?
Radar O'Reilly. Sounds military? I'm not sure. Who is he?
Radar is very military. So, yeah, I mean, I am dating myself. So that's from MASH.
Oh, okay.
TV show. Radar was the kind of the heart and soul of the TV show, and he was the admin to the colonel in the MASH unit in Korea, and during the Korean War. And he has come to mind lately as I've been learning about my need for assistance, for help, and delegation. And I think that realization really started with you. And
Me?
yeah, and you coming on. How long's it been now?
A year and a half?
Year and a half. Okay. And when I was building out my Vistage practice, um, the recognition that I needed to engage with social media and
Yes.
digital marketing, and I had no clue. And so, that's when you and I started to work together, and you've been extraordinarily helpful. But I think it's an example of what I'm trying to say in this video in terms of, who is your Radar O'Reilly? And that we're really a Radar O'Reilly for one another. That
Yeah.
that as I think about our work, it has not been just assigning tasks. It's much more than that. And our working relationship is really a partnership. It's important for you to know not just what I'm doing and what I need to have done, but why
Yeah.
and what the context for that is.
Right.
And so it really becomes a partnership between you and I where you can be making decisions on my behalf. And frankly, you're mentoring me as much as I'm mentoring you. And it's that give and take, that mutual learning that underneath it all, I think is this notion of anticipation and anticipating one another's needs. So I just wanted to say that and let you react to it. I mean, am I on to?
No, absolutely. And I think our relationship is, and with most of my clients, is, that collaborative give and take that you're talking about, that it's not, just saying do this, do that, but being able to, like you're talking about, the anticipation of, okay, if X, then Y, and if Y, then we're probably going to need Z.
Right.
And knowing that, and helping each other fill in the gaps where I have gaps in terms of my Vistage knowledge and the depth of their resources, and then filling in the gaps in terms of capabilities of things like LinkedIn and lead generation systems and other marketing tools, that when a need arises, we can work together to find a solution for those things.
Yeah, absolutely. So really, so what does this mean? What is this conversation you and I are having? What does this mean for my members and for those listening to this video?
Yeah.
And I think it applies to all leaders, particularly CEOs and C-suite members. And so when I was at Chair World, which is the event we have each year for Vistage chairs in January, I attended one of the seminars was sponsored by Belay, which is a company that does virtual assistants, not just in administrative areas, but other areas, billing and so forth. And it was a very interesting session, and they had an exercise where they call it delegate to elevate, and it's an exercise where we identify what is it we're doing that someone else could do more efficiently, more effectively? What is it that we're doing that we don't like to do? And really hone in on what are those few things that only we as individuals can actually do, and then how and who do we delegate the other pieces to. And I think in a lot of our leadership roles, we're thinking about operations. I need a COO. Or finances. I need a CFO or an accountant. HR, who am I going to delegate that to? I need to have a legal counsel on the outside. Sales and marketing, business development is huge. Those are all absolutely critical, and we oftentimes speak about how do our CEOs spend less time working in the business so they can work more on the business, and that's really those kind of decisions. But I think there's another element that hit me, and that is I need administrative help. There's
Mm-hmm.
a whole lot of things that for lots of reasons we've moved away from the notion of an administrative assistant or an executive assistant. And so, we have a lot of people in very senior positions spending time doing travel or expense reports or following up on invoicing and emails and lots and lots and lots of administrative things. And so I found the Belay seminar very helpful to challenge myself around what I needed to be delegating more of. And in the business development world and marketing world, I delegated a lot to you, and that's where our partnership has come in. So I've contracted with Belay for a virtual assistant,
Yeah.
Victoria Walden. She joined us a week or so ago. She's a wonderful virtual assistant, tremendous background, came out of JP Morgan and having done a lot of work at JP Morgan for about 10 years. And so she is now becoming a partner with you and I.
Yeah.
And I think our notion of Radar O'Reilly for one another. So it really becomes the triad of the three of us, knowing what is it we're trying to accomplish collectively and who can be doing what most efficiently and most effectively. And so that's exciting. I mean,
Yeah.
it's great having Victoria on board and becoming more and more the primary liaison for a lot of the administrative work that we've got to get done.
And I think just to add to that, Rick, a key component, like you mentioned, is realizing when you need to ask for help.
Yeah,
But alongside that is being willing and open to listen to advice
yeah,
from those people that you bring on your team.
right,
And, you mentioned that you were a little bit hesitant to utilize social media. It's
right.
not something that you use in your personal life. But, I commend you on being so open and willing to be receptive to the ideas of those people that you've brought on, like me and Victoria, in saying, maybe let's try this, and kind of letting us execute that and then making a judgment, that you're
Absolutely.
really letting those people you surround yourself with show off their strengths,
Yeah,
which I think is the goes hand in hand with having a successful relationship like that in a workplace.
yeah, that's tremendous. And so I mean, just the way you said that, Gracie, reminds me of back in 1970. Robert Greenleaf wrote not even a book; it's like a little pamphlet
Yeah.
entitled "The Servant as Leader." And for the last 40 plus years, the notion of servant leadership has really taken hold. And he distinguishes, the difference between a servant leader and a more typical leader. And the servant leader is someone who puts others' highest priority needs, making sure that they're being served. So the needs of others are the highest of priorities. And the irony is the more you care for and ensure and anticipate the needs of others and meet them, the more effectively they can really work with and help you. So it's that mutual care.
Uh, Great. So you said Greenleaf was 40 years ago?
Well, let's see, 1970, 30, 40. Ooh.
Okay. Well, I
53
think
years ago. Oh my gosh.
that's hard. I'm sorry. Um, but I think something like you said, this idea of the servant becoming the leader,
Yeah.
something a little bit, maybe a little bit more modern, um, is Gosford Park. You know that in the Downton Abbey
That's a great movie. Yeah.
movie? Yeah. Helen Mirren's character and Mrs. Wilson, she's like the head of the household. Our conversation today makes me think about something that she said.
Oh,
And I'll read you the quote. It says, "It's the gift of anticipation," like we were talking about. "And I'm a good servant. I'm better than good. I'm the best. I am the perfect servant." And she says, "It's because I know when they'll be hungry and the food is ready. I know when they'll be tired and the bed is turned down." It's knowing what you want before you want it, which
yeah.
is kind of a psychic skill
Yeah.
that when you really know and work with someone, you can be that in tune to each other.
That's awesome. Oh, great quote, Gracie. I really like that. And, as we think about really being servant leaders for one another, anticipating one another's needs, and I just want to encourage all of our listeners to answer that question: Who is your Radar O'Reilly? And let's go find some more radars.
Sounds like a plan.
Okay,
Thanks.
thank you.
Take care.
Bye.